time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Feel, don't think.
Fear is my ally.
The Force will be with you.
We are encouraged to love.
Be mindful of your thoughts.
I will not betray the Republic.
Hey, your worship, I'm only trying to help.
Scruffy-looking nerf herder.
I'm not afraid.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
So it looks like we did miss a big story. This came from punk.com, and it's about Kennedy and her husband moving their priceless art collection to the Shelkoff Gallery in Tribeca, New York City. And the show started on January 17th, okay? It ended, and the last time I looked at the listings of what pieces were included, a lot of them did sell, but it's the biggest private, significant collection of regionalist and social realist art in the world, okay? They met Barbara Guggenheim, Barbara Guggenheim of the Guggenheims, who created the big art gallery in New York City. They met her 40 years ago, and she was impressed by them because they considered themselves, just get ready, because you're about to have the veil lifted, socially responsible storytellers. So what you get is a couple who go out when you see some of these paintings, you're going to go, what is this about? And I'll explain some of this. The reason why the artwork went from Manet and Monet to crap, okay? This is, they consider themselves to be socially responsible, yet, here we are, too much money, attacking people for a different point of view, making things people don't want to watch. What they think is socially responsible, in my opinion, is anti-social. And what they do is socially irresponsible. Here are some of the artists. Romare Bearden, Thomas Hart Benton, who is a famous artist, Ben Shaheen. As I said, this is the biggest, most significant private collection of this regionalist and social realist art. I'm going to include the Mansion Global interviews and story with Barbara Guggenheim. So let's talk about the first artist. First artist is Charles Sheeler. This is called Gray Barnes. I don't get it. I don't get why is this considered significant? I think it was painted, I don't have the year written down. So, I think it's very plain. I think there's no creativity to it. Here's the next one. James Ormsby Chapin, 9 Workmen. It's a drawing, and they did sell this one. Nobody has a personality. These are great figures, but they're lacking life. This is something that somebody who's not an artist, but a socialist would paint, and then everybody would have to, go, ooh, what a great artist. And it would draw some, to be honest, there isn't any life in them. If you look at Soviet art, German art of the 1930s, the same thing is reflected. There is no life. So this next piece is called High Voltage by a guy named Louis Lozowick, and it was painted in 1930. It's dark, it's dreary. Again, it's got a very boring canvas. Here's another one Ben Shaheen, meaning of Social Security. Yeah, if you can't get faceless, anonymity, lifeless communism out of this one, I can't help you. Again, I look at whoever collected this as being a bit dilettante, all right? I am somebody who knows quite a bit about art. I've studied, I've taken classes, I've even have done some artwork in the past. And if you can't get the life into the figures, if there isn't any life in them, then stop. Now here's the one I do like, James Dougherty, jazz musicians, 34 to 35. I like the Art Nouveau and the Deco feel of this. And while the colors aren't my jam, I would put this up in a bar area if we had one in the house, you know, in a wine bar. Because I just think it looks, that's where it belongs. There's a little bit of life to this, and it's just a nice looking concept. And I, you know, jazz is a great form of music, and this kind of celebrates the whim of it. Now, these are only 3 of the paintings that are in this American realist, social realist, regionalist collection that Kennedy Marshall had. Let's talk more.
In keeping with the trusty adage, starve a cold, disgust a fever.
What an odd combination of odors. Smells like a fish died and all the other fish sent flowers.
Pardon me. I have to go poke out my mind's eye.
So, despite it looking a bit dilettante to collect such social realist crap, in my opinion, like I said, the only one that's worth it is the jazz musicians. I want to point out, what does it say about Kennedy and her husband? If they pick stuff like that out by people whom I'm pretty sure, if you dug into Thomas Hart Benton's voting status back then, or Paul Sheen's, Shahan's, you'd see communist, okay? Those people flocked to the arts in the 20s and 30s because that's where the propaganda was. If you take a propaganda poster from Germany back in the 1935, you put it up to one of these paintings, you'd see a lot of similarities. If you picked up one from the Soviet Union, you'd see similarities. Very color black, no life. And the images, to me, are dead. They're just, like I said, if you look at these paintings, the people in them and the drawing, the people are dead. There's no life in them. All right. So why is this going on? Why did she and Frank move the art collection to Tribeca and, sell it? And they moved it 6 months before the fire. And their house did get close. Their house in the Palisades did get close to burning down. Why? There's a rumor out there. Bob Iger basically said Kennedy is responsible for a lot of, I guess, money. Look at where Lucasfilm is right now, financially. Okay? I want you to think about that. Did she make deals with vendors that she couldn't pay back? Okay. Did she, in fact, make deals with shady people they couldn't pay back? I first thought the BBC kicked back USAID funds to the Acolyte. Now I'm not sure anymore. Okay. But I would say Leslie Headland also owes some money. So this actually might be connected to that. But either way, let me explain something. This collection, it was most significant social realist, American social realist collection in private hands, and they decide to sell it. No, if you know anything about art collecting, you collect it, and when you die, it goes to a museum either with your name on it, or a museum like the Guggenheim, puts it up so people can go, ooh, they had such great taste. I'm vomiting right now just thinking of that bullshit, pseudo-intellectual bullshit. You're kind of like going, why would they sell it then? The only reason why you do what you do with something like this, right, is because you need money fast. All right, they sold that house for what, $12.7 million? They got, they wanted $22 million for that house, and they got about half of what they wanted. They got taken to the cleaners on that. I'm just putting this out there. Okay? But yes, selling the artwork really did happen. And I think there's still some at the show, the gallery in Tribeca. So if you want, you can, and you're in New York City, you can go check it out. I wouldn't do it at all. But I'm going to add the gallery pictures and notes, and I'm going to add a couple other articles so you guys can read it and look at this artwork, all of it, and get an idea, because what you collect in artwork tells everybody else who you are. This is Steph signing out. See you around the galaxy.